Good morning. It is 6:31 a.m. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning 4 States. I'm Katie Owen, and here are your local headlines. Former students at Batteret College in Joplin are fighting back. A few students gathered in front of the building on Thursday afternoon, and they gathered signatures for a petition to start a lawsuit against the college. The potential suit aims to get help with student loans. Students say promises were made that aren't going to be fulfilled. The organizer says a lot of her fellow students have put time, effort, and money into their education, and now they have to start completely over.
We want to keep our teachers. We loved our teachers very much, and they were very helpful and very understanding, especially with some of us that were facing some difficult and hard times.
If you miss the petition signing, Frederick says she'll be out in front of the college starting at 9 a.m. and says she'll stay as long as she can to get signatures. A proposed reservoir in Newton County is still several years away from completion, but officials with the Missouri American Waters say they want all the information on the table now. At the moment, two sites are under consideration for the reservoir, one on the west side of the Interstate 49 known as Site B, and another on the east side of I-49 known as Site C. Site A was eliminated due to concerns over mining. The proposed 12 to 1,500 acre reservoir would hold approximately 12 billion gallons of drinking water. Officials say $103 million of funding for the project have been secured through a loan from the federal government. However, there are still numerous steps to go through, and the project won't be completed for at least 5 years.
You go through the environmental impact statement studies, and the permitting process is what that is. And that can take several years to get through that process.
An informational meeting for Site C is scheduled for Thursday, January 10th. That meeting is set to start at 6 that evening at Missouri Southern State University. That meeting had originally been planned for January 8th in Diamond, but was moved to accommodate the crowd. Carl Junction residents will decide 2 tax questions on the ballot next spring, and that includes a use tax that would apply to the local sales tax rate to purchases made online. And a library tax question would add 10 cents to the property tax rate to start a public library in town. A Chamber of Commerce survey earlier this year had identified a library as a top priority for CJ residents.
We've never had a library in town. We've tried to go back and look as far as we can. Even in the early days, there was not a library. There's never been a free public library in Carl Junction.
City leaders decided to put both questions before voters on the April 2nd ballot. As 2019 approaches, teachers in the state of Oklahoma have started making requests for additional funding in the new year. The Oklahoma Education Association held a press conference asking for higher teacher rate raises, as well as for more money for the classroom. Organization representatives say 2018 served as a big year for legislatures, working with teachers to meet their needs. However, they still say there's still a lot of work to be done. In 2019, the association has requested an increase of $3,000 for teachers and $2,500 for support professionals. And as far as classroom funding goes, they are asking for $150 million. Democrats nationwide and in the state of Oklahoma are working to address Medicaid expansion. Oklahoma state lawmaker Ben Loring says if the state of Oklahoma accepted the Medicaid expansion, they would gain $900 million in federal funding. However, they would have to pay $100 million to cover the expansion. Loring says something needs to be done because many Oklahomans are going without health insurance.
Oklahoma has the second highest rate in the nation of uninsured patients. Only Texas has a higher percentage than us. But almost all of the states with high percentages are not participating in Medicaid expansion.
Loring says he doesn't believe the Oklahoma legislature will pass Medicaid expansion this session. He says lawmakers will work on a petition to allow voters to decide the issue. The Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas announces plans for several clinics in Bourbon and Crawford counties, following the October announcement that Mercy Fort Scott Hospital would be closing. The Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas announces they would take over operations of Mercy's primary care clinics in Fort Scott, Pleasanton, and Arma. And by February of next year, they will take over operations of 5 clinics in Bourbon, Lynn, and Crawford counties. Administrators with the clinic say this will add about 75 staff members and more than 15,000 patients to their system, representing a growth of about 35%. They're calling this the biggest undertaking in their 15-year history. And now let's go to Adam with today's Fastcast. Good morning, Adam. How is that weather outside?
Good morning, Katie. It's looking a little